This is where I ended up after only 71 minutes of practice. But here is what I sounded like at the beginning. Hi, I'm João, and I'm back with a challenge where I pick a song that I never studied and I only had 3 practice sessions, 1 minute, 10 minutes, and an hour. The song for today is the Vals Venezuelano number 3 by Antonio Lauro, and I'm going to set everything here. Let's see how far I can get. Alright, so the sight reading. That was rough. So let's start with 1 minute. I don't think I'll get much further in 1 minute. So, but that's the challenge. So, first page. Okay, 1 minute, not so far, but start getting some ideas for the longer sessions. So this is far I could do. So let's jump ahead for the next session. 10 minutes. I hope I can play more. 10 minutes doesn't sound like much, but it's enough to stop surviving and start solving problems. Instead of just trying to play the whole piece, I'm looking for the difficult sections. If I can just fix one difficult transition, it would be easier to connect the other parts. That's why I isolate one or two hardest measures until they become comfortable. Well, not much time, but I start doing my first steps when I pick a song. I knew I would only have 10 minutes, so I start to focus on get more notes and then leave the process of the thinking process for the longer session. But one of the first two goals I did for 10 minutes were identify points where blocks separated in blocks where I could just practice, understand the rhythm pattern, the fingerings. That was also the second goal, and see how much I could get, and understand the structure, the first structure of the song. So this is the result of 10 minutes. It's not much, but once you have like a short time to get a song, you want to understand as much as you can and make this translation between what you can read, what it's on your mind. Because when you know what you're seeing, you understand the notes, you know each note and everything, and then you need to translate that to your muscles, because it's a completely different setting, I believe. And I also try to think like a computer, because the machine can only understand zeros and ones, and the same apply for our body. Our brain thinks faster, understand the patterns faster than what our muscles do. So the process of translating the machine language to the energy for our muscles needs to be really accurate. So that's why the sight reading is really important. So the first thing I do when I'm learning a new song is to have patience, because it's really hard not to just play and go through the song and not taking a time to really understand each pattern, each block. That is what I always do when I'm first learning a song. I separate it in blocks where I can repeat it a couple of times and as much as I can not play it wrong. I'll never play it perfectly or flawless, but the objective, the aim, is to be more precise as I can in a specific part that it's really hard. For example, I remember that I struggled on the measure 4 and 5 with this passage. Now remember that because you have long leaps, and to understand, and you can do that in multiple places of the guitar, on the guitar. But the easiest way to achieve that mechanically, I start thinking about fingerings, like what is the closest one? So instead of just doing why? Because on the very next measure, I'll have this. So keeping everything close will save energy. So I'll try to apply more of that on the next session. And let's see. I think in an hour I can play the whole song. I don't know, but so 1 hour. An hour sounds like a long time, but for a fresh piece, it really isn't. The first 10 minutes helped me figure out where the biggest problems were. Now the goal changed completely. Instead of just trying to play the whole piece, I'm back to identify the sections, most mistakes, and focusing on almost all my attention there. One thing I've learned over the years is that playing the piece from beginning to end over and over feels productive, but you only improve a part or the whole song by isolating blocks, isolating the difficult passages, slowing them down. And one important thing, if you make the same mistake 3 times in a row, don't keep repeating it. Slow it down until you can play it correctly. Then you gradually speed up, not like at performance tempo, but let's say 10 BPM at a time, until if you can't play like 5 times, playing at 13 BPM, so you speed up. It takes time and patience, but that's the game. This is usually the point where the piece starts feeling less like just individual notes and more like music. After 30 minutes, the fingerings become more natural, the rhythm also starts to make sense, and I can finally pay attention to phrasing instead of just surviving each measure. After 1 hour, I'm definitely not near performance, but that's not really the point of this challenge. The goal is to see how much progress I can do with focused practice. And honestly, watching this, I'm surprised by how far I could go in just 1 hour. There's still plenty to clean up, but yeah, let's see how it went. So this is the result of 1 hour of study. So that was the challenge. I not perfect, but honestly, I didn't expect to get this far in only 71 minutes of practice. That's not my usual practice. I usually spend days in one page or in one block until I'm 100% sure I can play that part easily. So that was interesting, and was interesting to see how focused I was in the whole song, and how focused I was in deciding objectives, because I knew that my time was short, so I need to have like as much as I could and by the end. So what should be the next impossible challenge? Which song you think I should do next? Leave down below, and please subscribe and hit the like button. That would be really helpful. So see you next time.